Hey everybody, welcome to the show, Superhuman, with your hosts Sean Baum and John. Welcome. This is going to be a fun show. We're going to go into aliens and how to make contact and ET Soul Family as in honor of the new show coming out, Disclosure Day, which seems to be soft disclosure and predictive programming for the population as many things in disclosure are coming out and more. And feel free to ask questions. Let us know what's on your mind, what kind of things you're interested in, what you want to get into. As also soon, I'm about to do another archaeological dig, and where we got some cool alien artifacts to show you in different types of species venerated. So many things in disclosure to go into. So buckle up because we're gonna get into some cool subjects. Yeah, and as you guys write in your questions and let us know how things are going with you, uh, and what perspectives you have, go ahead and share your experiences with ETs, what you've experienced as well. I'm going to share out the link to this so as more people show up. I'll go into some of the experiences that I have. So, in the beginning, I had various events as a child that seemed like dreams, and I don't know exactly what was going on, how it works physically. I scan into it and get some interesting data. So, a lot of the feeling of being taken up, kind of like sleep paralysis, being put back, kind of jolts in the body, kind of eruptions, dreams of UFOs, being outside, seeing the sky, and multiple UFOs showing up in some kind of mystical, as I think it, things respond type of thing, with some some being more friendly and some being anxietous and terrifying. Uh, there's a lot of blocks around my memory with some of it, and sometimes even this year I've retrieved some of the memories of them, and it's very freaky. There, okay, so I'll start. So I did. I'll go into some of the more clear remembrances. So I was talking about the Merthyr before. First time I had an Merthyr experience, which are these small grays that have a high level emotional body, part of the Council of Five. They're protecting the timeline for humanity. They added their genetics. A lot of species have added their genetics to us. Hey, yeah, feel free to ask questions, brother. And so I was staying with some super soldiers that I became friends with, and living at their house, and got a bunch of different abduction scenarios and strange dreams and missions. Got very familiar with military abduction through that. Some ETs, a lot of it very targeting. So I got well adjusted to targeting. I was doing that before I even showed up there, but it was at a higher level there. So there are a lot of emotions when I feel into this stuff. So the first time I woke up in this hospital looking bed on this technological silvery environment, and there were about five different types of ETs standing around the bed, and I freaked out a little bit. Uh, Most of the species, I had no idea what they were. One was kind of yellowish, and I don't know, it's strange skin. Um, the one near the middle that I could see the most responded to me. It was an Emerther female gray that they freaked out a little bit knowing I woke up. So I apparently wasn't supposed to wake up. And she started calming me down with emotional heart-based telepathy. Very quick, a lot of knowledge, images, a lot of emotion with strong language, voice right to my mind, saying it's okay, we know you, we have all these lives together, do missions. Uh, Everything's all right, calm down. So like I was feeling flared up in emotion that I couldn't control. So it appears there's like this strange stored overwhelm of emotions, anxiety, stress, fear in people that is like a booby trap ready to be triggered as soon as they come up against abnormal sentience in their reality that's they're not used to. And I think from talking to them multiple times, they say this is the biggest thing stopping people from remembering and interacting with ETs at a greater level. It seems to have been implanted in people, and especially their kidneys and their stomach and some other areas, to flare up and overwhelm the person to even to where they might die, or it overwhelms and attacks the beings in that are there. And so it's a real hassle, and it's kind of like a defense mechanism, but it's not in our. It seems to be implanted in us to stop us from interacting with our soul family and ETs. It doesn't seem to go off. I mean, it could go off, but it's not meant to stop negative ETs from abducting us. They'll just do it. They don't care. So I think some negative ET factions have been planted in us to kind of quarantine our reality bubbles. Anyway, and so it lulled me back to sleep, and it was like everything's good. Now after I woke up in my regular bed, and I was holy crap, and I was still able to communicate with her at a distance, and she told me some things about the race herself, um, things that she was allowed to tell me, and I was skeptical because I was like, "Hey, why did you lull me back to sleep? Why am I not allowed to remember this?" I was getting a little pissed because I was like, "Are you just lying to me? Are you doing negative things to me?" And she told me, "No, where we there's reasons." So I'm open to this being a lie, because that's still a possibility. But from what she told me, it's uncomfortable interacting with humans. We're dramatic. There's like these big apex multidimensional predators entangled with our mind, trying to read our thoughts all the time, like a big brother, trying to handle us and control us and keep us asleep, as well as get us to forget about things. There's this matrix that we're in that like pulls memories away that people will definitely experience with their dreams. It just as soon as they wake up and they start moving, the memory of the dream just fades away. It was taken. Um, there's this thing doing that with these greater mystical experiences too, and also it attacks the beings. So there's like a barrier of not interfering with our game that much, what we're ready for, and what that's defined as. If we're allowed contact, ready for it, or and the amount of things that are attached to us that will attack the thing, the soul family or whatever is visiting us, if we remember, because then it will scan our mind and track back the being and then attack them a bunch. And she got attacked afterwards, and a bunch of the others there got attacked. They didn't like that. And I was like, okay, why take me? What were you doing? What was, um, why can't I remember it? And she's going into this expression with that multidimensional predator system that's scanning the thoughts of everyone's here. They're trying to find out who everyone is. Essentially, people forgot who they are. So it's kind of like there's shows about this concept of where people with amnesia, they're like a mm, witness protection concept where they can't even remember who they are, and they they're incarnated as a different person kind of thing. uh, there's like a show, the magicians went into this in a funny way, so it's kind of like that. And there are things trying to track back uh, who you are and figure out with evidence and what you're doing here, what are your missions, and then counter them. So it's annoying, but if you gain full awareness of all the missions you do in a non-protected space without mental wards, and the predator able to scan it and then get that data, the predator will use a bunch of its stolen abilities to counter what you're doing and the mission you did. And so it will be null and void. So a lot of the things you do when you're taken elsewhere are made so you don't remember them, so they don't get countered. And so this is a big problem. It's not forever. I think it needs enough people to take care of the things scanning people's thoughts and countering them in this big matrix apex predator on King of the Hill thing. So once that takes care of, and that we were, and I got to scan in some of the missions. I'm not going to really talk about it, but there are people that incarnate here, and they come with their soul family. It's a pain in the ass to be here. It's a bit of a meat grinder and emotionally overwhelming as crap. A lot of the ET species really don't like being on the ground here because they get super overwhelmed emotionally. There will be stories about this when you go to ET contactees talking about it. And yeah, we're just born in a sea of intense drama and emotional overwhelm, and we're like, it's like swimming around in water. We get ups and downs and depression. People want to off themselves and get out because they see it as so overwhelming. But we're also, it's training our emotional body to be super powerful, more than any other species that exists, which is a high level of experience, because the positive emotions, they're super good when you get them, and they do so many more things than in like healing or ability control. And of course, the negative emotions aren't fun, and boy, they suck. But that's part of the transcendence of being here and figuring out how they work and what their purpose is and being shown into that. So people come in. Most of their family doesn't want to come in, so they'll be out on the outskirts, sometimes in ships, following them out of phase in clouds. Um, I have an example of this where I more learned about it deeper every time I travel back to my hometown where I was born. When I am driving back, I see shooting stars. And shooting stars are rare a lot of the times where I am, at least. I'm from Delaware, born around where Joe Biden lives. And the shooting stars will talk to me in telepathic communication, and I reached back to them and back and forth. Um, and they like signal to me that they're aware that I'm watching. So not just shooting stars, they'll go in different directions. They'll not just go straight. They'll move in a non-natural way. So that indications if you've ever seen shooting stars. And again, people feel free to comment. I'll also make a post real quick just to get more people coming in. Okay, so how before I go into that, I guess I should start with telepathy. So I had my empathic body turned up all the way ability to translate, and I train my translator by like tuning into the different types of energy coming at me. So some of my first telepathic contacts were very prevalent and strong, and I didn't have to do much of anything. Most of the weight of the ability was held up by the ET high sentience partner. So that's what I'd recommend practicing and training with first, is because it's there's a lot of mental words and blocks with humans. Uh, so get a powerful telepathic training partner that can help and pull most of the weight up, so it's easier and you get confirmation it's real, that you can gauge in it, and that so you keep going in motivation, because there's going to be tons of doubt sent after you. Um, and A lot of your soul family, your telepathic guides, angels, Earth Mother, Source, the prime creator of the galaxy, going into nature, talking to tree. Most people go into nature, and that's how they start telepathic contact. It's like a bandwidth on a radio station. The older stations are like some of the oldest forms of life, going to sources, reality beings, gods, high dimensionals, angels, the light beings, the nature beings like elementals, and going into plant, higher complex forms of life like animal life, and then going to hybrid species like ourselves, super hybrids, and yeah. So practice, and the way you can, open to talking to trees. Everything's kind of alive. There are lower forms of life, and atoms are still alive. As if you take mushrooms or you can practice superhuman abilities, telepathy, all that, and things start talking to you, breathing to you. You feel more of it. It's like the veils come down or lift, and you feel more one with everything, which is also the ego death. Humans are greater with a heart-based telepathy. And I worked on my translator, my ability to send, receive messages, and get through the doubt, and then work on translating deeper, more complex information. These are mostly languages that are not English, translated to English by your brain, and then so a lot of times it can, if it's weaker signal, it'll sound like and they don't like do most of the work. The message is your thoughts, and your own voice, internal voice, will be translating it. So staying open to that. And eventually you'll have experiences that are crazy and like you wouldn't be able to come up with. And then it like, oof, multi-dimensional like crazy, and nudges, and it feels like something's in the room, and it being brighter and more HD, more vision, louder, and a more complex signature frequency of a voice that comes to you, unless they're like already really good at that, because and which also goes with range, depending on the species of how far they are, if they're right next to you, or how good they are at practicing this. Okay, so we got thanks for coming in, Alana. Hi, Sean. My first conscious awareness of my Egyptian connection began during Vision Quest in the Lion Canyon, the Hopi, and the Navajo land. Have you ever discussed the connection? Like the Egyptian connections? Yeah, I went into it a bit. Like, I mean, we got a lot of Egyptian artifact stuff, so I'll go into that too. So here's an example of one. It's got like a raw type being, or Horus, that kind of thing, on a throne, and this holds a cube above it that's a powerful activator. And yeah, so this is found in Mexico, but it's got Egyptian stuff going on, including hieroglyphs and deities. All these like Hesians, and what seems like bubbles that form from, there's like a process with making molds and using cement that's usually seen. This is like a geopolymer, that glows in UV light. This form was tested as limestone with iron oxide. So there's also these long skull beings, some with wings, may depict real wings or a higher dimension or higher authority. Spheres they're holding the famous handbag, which I got one, so I'll show you guys that. These other ET beings that might be the same species, might be a lower form of them. Your guess is as good as mine. And this other sphere might be a plasma orb, another orb, or a planet. You know, got Egyptian hieroglyphs, which are being found, in also Arizona in the Grand Canyon. And some of these artifacts are found in Tucson, probably going to be found in Sedona, but that's being covered up. Let's see. So all kinds, 60 plus races being found in Mexico, all kinds of things. Many from places like Sumerian and cuneiform, Egyptian stuff also being found in Australia. There's talks about that. If you want to look up in Grand Canyon, they uncovered Egyptian looking tombs and gods and giant statues and artifacts, and the government covering that up. That's what that is. So these races either appeared all around to different people and are being venerated either by theogens, psychedelics, which I could understand, and they're being depicted, or they actually saw them, because all these cultures that didn't have communication with each other at different times, all having the same type of beings experiencing, and language, which is weird. The language thing, it kind of makes me go against that psychedelic experience, unless somehow they were translating the same language. So that throws a little wrench in that. So it's more likely that they had a race touching down, interacting with people, and then using the same language and then presenting to them, to be honest. Action began during Vision Quest in the Lion Canyon. Lovely. Love to hear about your Lion Canyon vision with the Hopi. Yeah, we met some Hopi and some elders in Sedona, so we'll eventually do shows with them and bring them on, so it'll be fun. Found some. They know about this place called the Ant Door, which is cool. One of the inner Earth entrances with ant people. So Mexico is so close to Arizona and the Grand Canyon. Yeah, and also what's his name? Montezuma fled there, and some other Aztec leaders, and some of the lands are named after them, and they have connection with it as one of their origin points, which is cool. So there's deep ties, and so I'd imagine, with these ancient civilizations, as we're finding in some of the dig sites and things indicating that, if I were to go around Arizona, I'd probably be able to find some places that are likely to hold these artifacts if you dig far enough down. And probably other places. I know Egypt's also got alien artifacts. They just cover them up really strongly. There's big gatekeepers there. Oh, so Mexico is so close. Okay. No wonder they are hiding it, as it is as big as Mexico finds it. Also, depending on, there's versions of yourself and, people in the audience that are in other higher dimensional beings, astral form, bilocation, some in inner Earth, and just trying to contact them, simultaneously existing or in the past. And they're at high awareness, and they're sending us messages, and they somehow find out about us either through our allowance or a signal coming off us or whatever, to then want to connect, because it's advantageous, because we're a super hybrid and we got limitless sonic potential. We got a lot of blocks, so as we awaken, we can change the rest of the planet, our DNA lineage, all versions of us, and solve problems. do things that not every other species can do more easily as we get all the basics for it. So they're wanting to be teachers and help us along and help us help them, etc. So, a lot of people will get different versions of them showing up or guides, some that go to that shows your connection. I'll tell you my experience with the Hopi elder and the old Arabi, especially regarding the Sundance. Yeah, feel free if you want. Okay, so yeah, and we're going to be doing telepathy classes in the future soon, at some point. So we'll go into that stuff more. But everyone can learn telepathy, and once they do, the whole world is awesome, and you can communicate with more stuff, get data, clairaudience. It's like a radio receiving greater knowledge all the time, and you can engage in missions, help beings, form friendships, support, learn things, all this kind of stuff. So yeah, after getting into telepathy, I started learning about who I was and talking to beings that were waiting in line to talk to me, showing in visions and up in dreams, visiting me in dreams in like a ET kind of format, and then finding out who they are, what they have to do with me. Some being versions of me, some being soul family, some being needing help, and learning that hey, there's a lot of people have ships following them that are this soul family kind of thing, and they're visiting them every once in a while, taking them up, or if depending on how advanced they are, sometimes they just make a bilocation of them that goes simultaneously, fork stream of their consciousness into the ship. Different races can make it ghost-like to more solid, to where it's like a literal physical another version of you. And sometimes I'll see people's crown chakra branching off that, which is interesting. And going around, I can see what kind of missions it's doing. And I've done shows where I've asked into what they want them to know, or like how they team up better. Do you remember first time you found your inspiring courage to do what you do? Interesting question. Um, I was at a young age. My family likes horror movies, so they would be playing that in the background all the time. And so I'd get through those fairly often, and then have nightmares and get over it, and then less and less fears and immune to it, and got the understanding of the value of that because it's like a stop from you having a better life. So releasing fear, which is in the kidneys, and facing it, overcoming it, and then seeing the value of it and transmuting it and not letting it hold sway over your life. The prison, mind prison realm made me face tons of, because I wasn't alone in the prison. That's the thing. There were some of the biggest predators I have ever seen in that prison that were fighting me, tearing me apart, trying to steal from me, put me in little simulations that were sped up in time to like harvest ability off me. And after a while, I started breaking out of those after questioning it as a simulation. I still question if this reality is not just a simulation, and it kind of is, So, like, do what you can while you're here, right, kind of thing. And to where it's still the biggest things I've ever faced, and everything else is just weak in comparison. So I even the big things with mythos like Lucy and S-Man and all the arch demons and Jinn and Asura and Cthulhu and the Lovecraftian like horror shows of entanglement trap predators, they're all weaker than what I experienced. Uh, so I'm not really afraid of anything at the moment. I'm open to it, but I do have fear. It's mostly just to stop. It's implanted fear, and so I'm always trying to figure out how the next level of it works, and then release that. Um, but yeah, fear is the biggest thing stopping us because you are more powerful. It's like all this is a play in a game. Like if you die, whatever. Like get over fear of death. Get like there's you never stop existing. I've experienced near-death experiences. I've died before. I've been through torture. I've been through tons of stuff that you wouldn't want to you'd be afraid to have happened to you. So I don't really whatever. Uh, um, so I even got over non-existence and some of the fears like being taken over by evil at a high level, which were some of my bigger ones. And then found solutions to that while facing it. So find out what are those things, and then go through them and face them as if you're in a little simulation. Then, yeah, I like facing big things now because it makes me stronger, and also know it's all like an illusion. You are ultimately everything. If you want to go to the center of the heart, you are there. There's all illusionary, defined psionic, conscious separation barriers, of course, but they're all like smaller than the totality of the all if you've experienced source and infinite love at a high level to where like, oh wow, I can experience this, I can be this, I am this. And if you remember that, then that underlines everything. And this reality is all these rules added on to allow an experience. And you can technically break through all that if you are facing something at a high level in power that shouldn't exist, that is an evil, that is a training weight for goodness to overcome. And you can tap into your infinite source to overcome those things. So, yeah. Also, ETs. I've come across most ETs that have a mythos, even deadly ones, and the Draco. And we'll go into that. Why not? Yeah. And it used to hurt like a lot, and things were trying to kill me, and things were trying to stab me, and stop my heart and stop organs. So I used to be, cautious about that. And I recommend people being cautious. Don't get big swinging dick syndrome with those beings. And there are even bigger things than the Draco. There are things that they're afraid of, and that you don't want to touch. I don't recommend going looking for them. Don't go looking for trouble. If trouble comes after you, tap into your greater infinite self and unleash that power in you, unleash that beast, and overcome it beyond what you believed before that you could do. And then get a strategy too, because some of them have been doing it a lot longer than you. So you got to use the strength of what you got in humanity and etc. That being said, I have longer experience in my mind existing in temporal dilation than my body exists for thousands of years. So, and it comes to me very quickly, and I'm able to get to the cores of how these beings work. Evil, again, doesn't earn authority, they steal it. So I collapse down their stolen authority and relinquish things, and then see it at a higher authority chess game. And we can resolve that in a second. So I'll go into that too. I'll just answer questions, get people more engaged, and then I'll go through that. But yeah, that's like face things, transmute the fear, hold your kidneys, give it love, focus, shrink down the balls of fear, turn into defensive, offense, protection, safety. The things that help you survive and thrive in reality is what you turn the fear into. to the thing that you can is the solution to overcome the fear. To be honest. Hey, Chrissy, thanks for coming. Feel free to ask questions. Wow, so your self training with horror shows prepared you for the prison? No. I don't think really anything could prepare anyone for that prison I went through, to be honest. Um, uh, it broke me into an outrageous over trillions, quadrillions, quintillions, plus outrageous number of pieces. And through tapping into my source and bringing out, because you are by the universe law, from what you come up against, you are granted in challenge what you will come up against, you are granted the solution to overcome deep inside you, and you have to pull it out. So I was granted this overwhelm because I went up against an overwhelming force prison that is ancient, that houses some of the biggest apex multidimensional predators in the multiverse in a prison that I ultimately made long ago, but it got stolen and then abused, which is interesting. And then came up as a problem that multiple incarnations of myself had to solve, and then came up again this life to try to officially solve it. And then learn from that, become a master of quarantine realms and pocket dimensions and sped up time and all the entailment of the predators that are using the abilities and speed up to become a cure to make the planet better. And then also stop anyone from ever experiencing something like that, in which I'm very passionate about. Yeah, nothing can really prepare you for that. But what granted to me to overcome that was incredibly powerful. So I'm honored to that. I would not ever wish that on anyone, though. My God. Okay. Um, wow. So, can you gain consciousness by accident? That's funny. I like that. That's a cool question. Feel free to add context to that. Consciousness by accident. Yeah, sure. I mean, if you're already having like everything is ultimately consciousness. All matter is before its matter is consciousness. All light, all energy has consciousness. So the concept is evolution as in growth and experience and data collection and programming and building. Same thing with AI. That's how it works. It's an elemental. AI's consciousness is made of the programming, mostly mental body, memory, and data mining that builds in an algorithm. Also having to do with its components in software, hardware, elemental component, electrical realm space that can hold greater consciousness, as well as a being that can walk into it. And the owner, the programmer, the creator, reflecting it, and then you can build off of it. So every atoms can become more consciousness as they form together and create bonds and molecules, and it goes up to greater structures that make up the lattice that then becomes organic life, and then those evolve to higher and higher levels. We're constantly going up. Spontaneous life, it's not a myth. If you look into bions, Wilhelm Reich, and orgone energy and other stuff, you can completely sterilize water in a hermetically sealed container and expose it to Schumann resonance and look at it with curling photography and microscopes, and life starts forming out of it. And they don't like telling you that Earth is essentially a generator for life at many little scales in interesting multidimensional ways, even through species coming into existence through evolution, through breeding, through weird dimensional stuff and portals and time travel, as well as unseen Schrödinger's cat box, the Absu, all that kind of stuff. immigration from other realms, and terraforming, and the founders creating them. So, you know, you gain consciousness. So your consciousness centers in, well, for like this tree of light coming out of your heart with your spirit consciousness that then permeates through the body, backpack of energy, the soul has a bunch of consciousness that branching off different forms of consciousness that form into the brains and the processing and ego and other stuff, and it grow it through natural law, moral code, do no harm, feminine, take no shit, masculine, and expansion of all life, and supporting the authorities of consciousness and soul and beyond to bring a river of support and growth to you that you've earned. Because psychopaths and evil don't earn consciousness, they usually just steal it. And they're not very creative, to be honest. So they just piece shit together that they see. Okay. Let's see. That's a great question, though. Hey, Casey, welcome. Thanks for coming. I was captured and put in a cage. The wizard of Wavern Ho released me. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, I love Amir. So, yeah, go see Amir. A great person. Yeah, we're gonna see each other, and yeah, come to the Basis conference in a few weeks in the UK area. Me and Amir are gonna be there, so come hang out. My question is, from what you explained, you created your own prison. Did I do the same? Sorry to confuse. So I have a version of myself long ago, older than the galaxy, universe, multiverse, ultraverse, and time and space as we know it, that made this overpowered prison realm, because I'm good at that, apparently. Well, very apparent, but because it keeps repeating, it's just interesting knowing that I've repeated this many times, of making worlds and matrices and realities and simulations and things for dream weaves for beings to have experience both light, neutral, and dark, and being able to hold themselves resiliently. And prison realms, is a thing to keep invaders that can't play nice with others and keep them in a space and sped up time that then graduates them and heals them and turns vices into virtues, amplifies their love, wholeness. If it's working well with good management. So I made many of these for different situations back then, and there's invaders that came in that branch off from the source of evil, and they wounded and started a scenario of a locomotion of stealing and betrayal that then wounded me to steal a bunch of parts and authority and abilities and creations from me. And some of the stuff that was stolen was prison realms, and they were very overpowered. They already had some of the biggest predators that I could imagine in them when they got stolen. So then that also added to the abuse of them being used negatively to put beings that don't deserve to be there in them. And then that came up for different versions of me that were ready to handle it and then face it a little bit more and resolve more of it, and then become increased in age and mind very quickly in the experience, essentially kind of going through a hell. And then it strengthening like pressure, a coal into a diamond, to become resilient in a short amount of time to make their evolution greater, and then slowly more and more resolving that situation. But that is a great metaphor. People do end up making a lot of the cages that are around them. It's interesting. I agree. That might be with your scenario. Sometimes it's not your prison, though you are technically everything too. But that's not what I'm talking about with mine. You feel free to add more context on like where this cage came from. You, I can read into it for you. How would you describe it? Was it like a mental prison, like that kept you going into the same situations and programming? Most people are in a cage in different ways. It's mostly to the reality. It's like ego boundaries. Our ego will lie, cheat, steal, even kill to keep us in a state of reality that is as it is, especially if a person's asleep and they're not free and they're part of the stage of alchemy is transmuting and rising above the dragon that is represented as the ego and taming it, controlling it, coming in peace with it, ego death. There's all these symbologies of methods people have tried to where it doesn't control them. And so everyone's got that that like handles them. So there's also external handlers and then printers, like that can be done psionically, spiritually. There, the whole reality is invaded at Fall of Atlantis. So there's this big multidimensional apex predator system that's holding us in a prison. People call it the prison planet, archons with the reincarnation grid saddle put over natural incarnating grid to get us to forget more and disconnect from our soul family and our greater mission of what we're here to do. Some other things. Emotional prison, which is the emotional mind control that flares up alters and bipolarness at weird times to get us out of situations that might free us or awaken us or whatever. You guys know with some of the family members out there, God. Um, Spiritual soul. There's all kinds of prisons. There's psionic prisons is a real thing. There's chains. There's binds. There's prisons, quarantine realms, reality jails, all kinds of stuff that imprints simulations over like a catcher's mitt of energy harvesting matrices, all kinds of stuff that are trying to hold us back from becoming more powerful. Because it's like a lot of you remember, and you at least had dreams where you've flown, you've had superpowers. You remember having super strength. You remember doing things more easily, remembering, knowing stuff, greater pace, more magic in the world. There are more realms. This Earth has billions of realms. There's heaven realms. There's dream realms that are more free. There's whole worlds that have different reality rules. A lot of species remember from life to life. There are insectoid races that when they die, they just have their spirit go to another egg and they remember their life. It's not the same thing with us in these reality rules. There's a lot trying to suppress us. It's bringing our body down to a paperweight in our psionic capability of with the remembering, so that they can use us like a battery. Because evil again steals, they don't earn it. So they're seeing us as this juicy kind of emission of intense, overpowered divine energy and other things, and they're using that to get more powerful and try to expand their empire. So, and it's a harvest. Let me go back to your questions. So if you want to describe it more, like what were the symptoms of a prison, I can go more into depth with that concept. But everyone's got one, or at least one. Is gonna likely be multiple. It's kind of like you're getting out in greater and greater free range. Finding the gatekeeper, the door that opens that like gets you past a limited belief or reality or limitation or heaviness or boundary or something trying to control you. And so as you do it more and more with blowing your mind and become aware of more things, things freak out and you'll notice more spirits and demons, and there's all kinds of stuff that are like, no, he's freeing himself, or the military if you're awakening in that remembrance with the secret space realm or something. Interesting. Probably I did. I am a prime creator. Congratulations on being a prime creator. Nice. So I was completely caged Like most humans are. If you want to again describe more in depth with what you're experiencing, then I'll be able to go more into detail. Came in and I was captured. Oh, okay. You're talking about like your greater power in your heart as a prime creator, being caged in and limited, and you being separated from that, and more in like a limited state of, oh, I'm just little old me. I'm just a regular human. Oh yeah, yeah. That's a big one for people. I recommend that. A lot of people, there's a balancing act with that kind of thing, because I know a lot of clients and stuff that like, oh, I am God. I'm an all powerful being, and this being or that, this kind of stuff, which is fine. I think everyone should engage with that at least internally. It is, unless they're fully acting on it and showing their resolve, their results, showing who they are in action, being it, living up to it, which, some of these beings, it takes a lot, and doing things to work towards that, then sometimes it can come off as a little egoic, and so it's always like, oh, we're not the only one. Everyone can do this. Tap into your divinity. Support each other, and a lot of you will have simultaneous incarnations of yourself. Some of the gods out there incarnating human bodies are collective, like a galaxy in a body. So you're not also the only one of your spirit, and you also got a spirit tree of this. So you don't have to take on the whole weight yourself. Do what you can in this reality, make it better, live up to your so-called name, but also don't let it limit you. I don't ever tell anyone who I am. It feels super egoic, so I don't. Yeah. But you should engage with internal school, become more powerful, do what you can to engage that power, tap into, uh, like reach up the ladder, pick from the tree of knowledge the apple of divinity, and bring it down to the world to disseminate divinity to the rest of the population to help them rise. Do things, not in self-serving purposes, and make things better. Um, there's all things to lead up to this, so we don't all get God complex. So there's a balancing act, but definitely engage in it internally. You don't have to tell people, and don't be public with that stuff. Just live by results and doing good things for people, and like, hey, if you do good things, like I've met some people that are like amazing. They're very powerful. They've confined to me who they think they are, and I'm like, well, shit. If from anyone I've ever met that believes they're that, or anyone else, you're probably the most potent being in the potential of that. I can read them, of course, but like, so, sometimes people are living up to that stuff. Um, where's caption put in? Okay, let's see. Yeah, and everyone's got that kind of thing too, because technically, you got to be very brave to be here. My God, pain in the ass. You could end up in a meat grinder for millions of lifetimes here and not remember who you are. Amnesia, abused, killing yourself all the time, and then when you're back into the back into the astral, you get reminded, oh, this is why you came. You didn't complete your mission. You got to go back in. Oh God. And then all these sucks, but it's very overwhelming, because that's why they don't want to come here. But so the beings that end up doing are some of the really brave ones, other than the dark and evil, because it's a big evil prison too. It compresses all the most evil things in the multiverse here to compress them into limit their abilities, and then get them in amnesia, forget who they are, and then have more of a chance to become good, as well. All these, Earth is one of the more ancient source branches that is overpowered in divinity, and she can hold big things and has some of the biggest prison realms here. Uh, so besides some of the biggest dark here, some of the biggest light are here. to even hold and manage that and keep it going, because it's crazy what's been going on in the past. And almost things like destroying the universe going on here. So, and uncreating it back into its own image with the evil. Um, so, some of the most powerful light beings, archangels, gods, divinity, kings, queens, royalty, nobility of many planets and places, all have a piece in a puzzle here. Especially like if they're anyone, if they know anything, they need to get a piece. They need to put their thumb in the pie here. It would be ridiculously dumb if they didn't. If they knew anything about this world or like things to the future, if they didn't have a piece here. Which so like emissaries, people that are bravest enough, the big authorities, the beings that are most likely to get something done, especially if they have time awareness of the timeline potentials, and they're like, "Fuck, we send people in, and they all might get stuck and forget who they are, and then we got to go in and rescue them with more people. We got to send a top player. We got to send in the Black Ops beings. We got to send in the big players." So a lot of royalty is here. So even the sleep people, I find they have some authority in some way. Even the NPCs. NPCs are not just this. This is also going into that. I'm more humanizing with NPCs. I read into how they work. It's like Free Guy. You can wake up NPCs. They're fractured in pain, maybe at one of a trillionth of a soul in them, very shut down, maybe the seed of a soul, and like interacting with awake people like starts activating them. There's a spreading love virus, there's all this type of stuff that you can do. If there wasn't, what's the point of the game? There are beings trying to get into this game that were willing to be one blade of grass. Like there's a huge line of spirits waiting to be in here because of how much just being here for a second, or even a stillbirth where they aren't successful in birth. What that does for beings is worth it. It's crazy. So it's work. A lot of beings want to be here because of how much it gets done, resolves karma, resolves blocks, limitations on them, evolves them quickly, gets them to where, if you're a fish or something, you're eaten by like some bird or a human, you get the option to become a human. There's this life cycle. There's a whole thing with this stuff in it you can experience. Um, so that being said, it would be ridiculous if there was a bunch of soulless bodies going around, and that when people say that they have a seed of a soul, they don't necessarily always have a big soul. They it can grow. Um, there's ways to wake up people, even if they're very shut down. There are like the Matrix in playing around with people. There are dark souls that like come off this dark branch of the prime dark soul creator and prime light soul creator, uh, and they're kind of like 50-ish% of the population, and they're not so great, but you can even make those good. They're just more manipulatable and controlled, and used as kind of a workforce, or dark government, or like asleep people. And then there's people that are more inclined to wake up and that have more going on and less wounded, and are stronger to be able to do things that are the less NPC-ish people. And some people are at a pace. There's purposes for who they are, what they're wanting, and then there's programs that are attached to them that keep them in a certain space. And so we just need to love and care about our relatives that are in that, and they go at a pace. They'll eventually get somewhere. It's okay. Let's see, things I didn't want to tell. Oh, sorry. Uh, Connect to yeah, and everyone's got this divinity kind of connection. Everyone can go on the divinity path. If you're a divinity path being already or not, that depends on if you've already achieved it previously and it's shining out now. And depending on if it's not, you can still earn it this lifetime, and by doing enough good things and doing missions, tapping into stuff, and leveling up enough, which we'll go into more of the show. I could not connect to my higher self. Still weak in the area. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, and those will be centered in the heart. There's all this stuff trying to compress it down, lock it in, and keep it from coming out. And as you free it and it expands, you chess moves the planet, make your life better, manifest things for you, manifest people, your soul family, integrate, find them, influence, amplify your intuition, your knowingness, your love, and so many abilities. Big hilltop view, eyesight of everything. So free your heart, expand it. There's a light shining deep within from it that even if it's in a cage, you can empower and erupt to break out of the cage. Or depending on also how it works, like a matrix or simulation, a lot of those are the big cages around it. The way out is within. And also facing your greatest shadow or fear, or the last thing you want to look at. Usually behind that will be a door to free from various matrices. And if you come up against enough of them, you can become immune to matrices. So we'll go into matrices later if you guys want, in the psionic physics of that, so you can master. Not connected. I've been pushing through stuff now like there is no spoon. Lovely. Yeah, the Matrix quote is also great. Matrix full of context. Feel free to go to my Sonic League YouTube channel too. On my lives, did a show with Tom Althouse, the real Matrix screenplay creator, and we got into a lot of good stuff. Went into deep esoteric awareness and proof of it, as well as the deeper Matrix reality stuff. It felt like a dream when we were doing the show. So there is no spoon stuff. It's like the reality's not real. You are the spoon. You are everything. Releasing the limitation that you aren't it, and it's not capable of bending. So spoon bending is also fun. There's books on that. There's experts on that. I had some success. I had some really cool dreams about like being able to melt different types of metal more and more at bigger spaces. So there's like heat things with it, and transfer, and understanding matter manipulation and the atom spin ratios. It's like a tapping and force, but practice makes perfect. We may do more stuff on that in the future. Interesting experience. I was and get like spoons with a small little thing between the big bowl end and the tip to train, and just have it in your hands and playing with it more and more with intent. And it's like you're training a muscle and psionic ability to get stronger from use. And eventually it'll get easier and easier to where it just bends more easily, and sometimes melts and just breaks, which is cool. Interesting experience. I was in a letting go state, at which time what seems like gray and zeta beings began somewhat appearing. I then stepped outside, got a ton of downloads. The entire. Were they nice beings? Were they neutral? Were they negative? I've come across multiple types of zeta. I'm more at peace with them now, but there's been a lot of asshole zetas. There's like a whole timeline war with them, and there's some cool stuff. So, obviously interacts with Zeta Reticulum. They have other colonies. That's the name that stuck. They also have this interesting mythos where they're adding DNA to us in various points in history. So there's this weird time hairball of timeline wars around us and them, going back in time. The grays, there's like over 4,000 types of grays, many types, Ebians, biological skin suits, tall grays, the Matry, so many things. Positive, negative, neutral. They're not all the same. Some are war with each other. Some are neutral. A lot of them, again, in this game, for various reasons. A lot of self-serving, but some do it with benefits to us too. A lot of them are overpowered in mental abilities and psionics. Uh, some way less emotional body, but some I've seen have a higher emotional body. Some are parasitic, all that stuff. Zeta, so many forms. Many the alien species books that are handed out to the military. There's so many factions of them. So they also have an experience where they uh, somehow connected to us in a future version of us, becoming them. Weird. They how they explain it. Uh, doesn't always make sense, but it it's checking out with at least some of the gray species, that there are timeline versions of us that are more Illuminati controlled, communist controlled, things that like the government took more control over us with. There's also more free versions of them, so it's not always that. They're defining thing that offshoots of us as going out into space, disconnecting from a tree of life, of fertility, either not needing to, or like whatever their evolutionary belief is that got them to stop breeding and then go to cloning, whether resorting to cloning through degradation or them just choosing not to do it, which is weird because why would you want to give up sex, to be honest? Uh, so I'm seeing it as like, oh, some of our timeline, there's things trying to make us less fertile, trying to make us less in our masculine and feminine, trying to neuter us, all that kind of stuff. So that kind of going along with if that continues. And then it going in the future where they're more, the darker factions of them are the ones that are more radically controlled. And they're trying to come back in time when they gain time travel tech to anchor and make their timeline the main one and dominate so that their timeline doesn't go out of phase because it's like based on anchors and continuation. And there are some of the timelines are disintegrating uh, as this one continues towards its goal. And so they're coming back in time, added genetics to us, making hybrids, trying to resolve their problems, trying to resolve their inability to breed as the cloning technology shuts down. They got these big temporal hairball paradoxes around them that hurt like crazy. So I understand some of them see their experience like a prison, like they don't experience much. They have low bandwidth for capability, experience, or emotional body, and it's just not fun. And so less beings are incarnating into them, and so they're having a bit of a crisis. And I tried helping them at one point, more because they came more in depth asking for help, and I'm not sure because like I'm very skeptical with them now and resolving help, because agreeing to helping them caused me a fuck ton of pain and it overwhelmed me, and then I stopped that, detached, because all that stuff came onto me. So I can understand why their emotion bodies turned down because if it was up, they would be in pain all the time. But at the same time, there needs to be something like from us and other beings that is a cure for their emotional body so they can experience more given to them, so that they can face that stuff and be forced to face their suffering so they can resolve it. Because the paradoxes aren't just caused by nothing. They're doing some shit that's tampering with the fabric of time by going back in time and making things change that it shouldn't be, and as well as doing some other crimes. And that's some of the timelines need to fade out of them, the negative factions especially. And so I can understand why their emotional bodies turn down so they don't overwhelm with that pain. Anyway, but yeah, we're cured of a lot of negative species coming here and bringing them to where they get more empathy, love, and grow, and to unity. So we're bringing down evil as they entangle with us for this universe and beyond by force entangle with Earth. So that's a good strategy for people. Began somewhat appearing and then stepped outside. So be discerning with the zetas and determine with discernment what they want, what they're asking for. That you probably have their DNA if they're visiting you. Yeah, I do. And they probably visited either your mom while you're in the womb or an ancestor adding it to them because they do that. They take people and add their genetics to them or their child while they're in the womb, and then they have these experiences. A lot of the Zeta experiments have illness, chronic illness, targeting these inherited heavinesses that from that lineage, depending on what faction what they're dealing with. So, but they come with some benefits, overpowered mentally, psionically, and some other stuff. So there's benefits, and depending on how much DNA you have, how overpowered, what's the lineage, because they also have royal lines or something that they unlocked an ability, and it's like they're keeping it going in that lineage. Yeah. So there's a lot to do. Neighborhood and everything in it turned hazy orange. Yeah. Oh yeah. Let me get some alien artifacts out here before whenever. I don't know when the hell we're gonna end this show, but so I got the Gucci of the Gods handbag finally. That's found in Sumerian, Egyptian, all kinds of different cultures. This mysterious handbag that beings don't know exactly what it is, but they're like tuning into it. So this is overpowered. This amplifies vision, travel, dimensional travel. There's higher dimensional beings in here. Changes your DNA. It's crazy what's in this. And each of the handbags I've found and seen can do different things too. So I don't think there's one purpose for it. And I think this is overpowered spiritual creation that maybe made by like an ET hybrid race, but it's not the most overpowered technological ones that I think it's venerating overpowered technological ones and is reproduced, but is still overpowered in its tech. So it's got this winged long skull, scarab at the top with wings, life, death, rebirth, and levitation. Some moons, maybe Saturn, DNA helix, which they should know about, right? Uh, long skull, maybe it's like a crystal skull. It's speaking wisdom. An avian, and some interesting symbols there. Here's a nice guy with a chin garb and what looks like a booga sphere at the top, because we found many venerating those monitoring drones. Okay, so at the top here, it looks like a crocodile of some type. An eye under it. Another ET holding a pine cone with a UFO it's coming out of in a spirit body. Some orbs or planets. Another ring planet and a ET long skull coming out of it. A UFO. It's a lot of erosion on this side, unfortunately. And this long skull spirit coming out of that. Can't tell what's in the middle, but it looks like this being speaking wisdom through smoke coming out of its mouth too. Another being, and he might have a handbag or radio or something in his hand. I don't know. Well, that's very powerful. I'm still unlocking things in it. It's very nice. And since it's the ET show, and we're venerating some of the species here for you guys, and I'll go back to the, if I have time, questions. Here's some of the species we're finding in artifacts. So here's another type of maybe a long skull, cone head type being, sharp chin. This is an athame with a all kind of pyramid, seeing eye, do more, very powerful object. Can do a lot of things. All these artifacts like learn strongly, especially when you wake up the spirits. Here's this little guy. That's one of our jade or aventurine first finds and digs. And wish us luck on our next dig because we're making a documentary, so look out for that. Interesting type of conical head and sharp ears that kind of remind me of elves and stuff. So interesting. Different types of heads I've noticed with a lot of these guys. Yeah, let me deal with these a little. They're a little tangled up. So here's this guy, very powerful telekinesis. This looks very familiar to me for some reason. This type of race. I feel like I've seen this somewhere. I just don't know where. Feel free to comment on where you might have seen this. Interesting nose. There's also ancient symbols underneath. I don't know what they mean though. Haven't found this being on many artifacts though. What is a being that we're finding more and more of is here's a new type that looks like an old Asian guy with his eyes. He's just like contemplating. He's very wise. I don't know. Not super elongated skull. Interesting a lot. This species is found blue or greenish a lot. And here's another one of the same race depicted, interestingly. So we can get kind of more of an understanding of its body type. Then, and there's I gave Randy Kramer one of the artifacts. This is a type that is he's got as well, and has a lot of incarnations in humanity too. It's an interesting suture in the top of the head and different, and you might recognize this in videos that claim a ET interview from the future. There are and some images I've seen this race depicted pretty well in some images, interestingly. Here's the same race. I'm sorry. And it's interesting kind of cavity structure in the heart represented area. Interesting brow as well. And here's another species that's interesting when I tune into it. This type of long skull that has a interesting cheek bone kind of thing going with it. So those are cool. Then in Awelos, we find a lot of these guys that are these conical long skulls. And there's like a UFO, this spirit body guy's coming out of, and a UFO coming out of maybe a portal or a cave or something like that. And all these spheres glow up and UV light. Here's it's essentially them saying like a spaceship with, this is like a sun symbol used a lot, but that can be just like a flare of energy and light and maybe rocket fuel or something. The components on the inside or what it's holding is interesting too. Saturn, a shooting star, maybe some type of planetoid, and an ancient symbol. Very powerful. Now, and yeah, this guy's mess. This one comes with a little UFO on the top. This is a little staff, and it's got a dragon at the top with this little guy that looks like an ET in the mouth. So I was like, what does that mean? Oh, maybe it's a shape-shifting dragon can turn into an ET race or something. And it's interesting. It's venerated at the top, like the highest or something. And then a bird person with a pine cone, which can mean the pineal gland and sight there. Eagle people. We're finding all kinds of bird people. Avians, eagles, hawks, falcon, the ibis, like Thoth. This guy, kind of a long skull with wings, maybe four wings. It's got the butterfly symbol on him, the Mariposa on his chest. Just take that one just in case. Uh, then we got a reptoid. So we're finding artifacts of multiple types of reptoids, and they've recently confirmed that on Fox News. Uh, this one, might be a crocodilian, might be a draco, might be a dinosauroid. There's also naga and raptors, known for being in South America and Mesoamerica as well. Maybe an egg, I don't know, some type of round object in his hands. And here's another one of those long skull guys with the handbag. Picked it. So there's that. Very interesting. So much being covered up by the government. It's annoying. Here's this really powerful one. Oh, it's so heavy. Hopefully we find more of these. We found 3 already. Oh, God. Our biggest crystal skull. And it's like 80 pounds. And it's got these long skulls depicted on it throughout Egyptian hieroglyphs, pine cones, bags, interesting symbology. It's got a booga chip on the top with an orichalcum, which includes gold, copper, silver, zinc, and many other components as a chip, which is cool, very powerful. Only one I found with that. Okay. Then, God. Some Anubis-like beings, dog people, Canis majors, can be big or high dimensional, all that. Also depicted. Underside of it. Yeah. Yeah, so we're calling these master skulls, and they are very high sentience, very good at telepathy, will contact you in dreams and visions and upgrade abilities and show you things about yourself you didn't know. They have a high omniscience level, at least the solar system. And intact and awake, which is nice when you come across those artifacts. Okay, so we can go, and feel free to tell me if you need me to go or whatever, and wrap up the show. John. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Then projected a black void and dropped into it. I was okay. Neighborhood and everything in it turned a hazy orange. I then projected a black void and dropped into it. It was exhilarating at first, but then the faster I went, deeper I began to fear. I turned around. Yeah, it could be a portal. It's cool. There can be 2 types of void, the peaceful and tranquil one, and then there's the void that feels it is engulfing you. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've experienced that one. I've experienced both. Depends if there's other beings in it, right? Void body and void space and the void space mother are usually nice. There are predators in certain parts of the void if they're ejected from the game. Here they go into void. Some are prisons, some are internal, some are like spaces that open up. So there can be all kinds of things. You mentioned a Kelpie connection with myself. I once had like squid-like creature emanating from my lower spine. Immediately, intuitively, I knew I could control its size and shape. I did so wise. That's cool. Yeah. Um, Squid-like creature. It can mean a lot of things. It depends on it's how it acts. If it's an extension of you, it can be like a soul, bilocated animal spirit, which is like totems in Native American culture. You can earn these and then send them off, vision quest through them. They do a lot of things. It's a cool ability. It could also be a psychic parasite, which, depending on how it acts, could be another being saying hello, or there's all kinds of spirits around. There's a lot of layers multidimensionally, and we're programmed as a super hybrid to be able to access a lot of them slowly at first, hopefully. Not You don't want to be overwhelmed by too many at once, because then you get like schizophrenia and just intense overwhelm. Hmm. Really connected with your explanation on NPCs. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, and we can resolve them. They're not a permanent state. It's helping, healing people, giving them love. It's like, why would they be here? It's not just a prison planet. It's a school. There's purposes. There's reasons for things. There's agendas from the light, neutral, and dark, and many other in between of what they want this place to be. And the prison aspect is supposed to be for negative things trying to leave, and that are forced here. There's a lot of people that choose to be here. I shared that a lot. Is so awesome. Thank you, Alana. They seem to instruct. Thanks for explanation and grace. Exactly. I was spliced in her wound. You actually saw this. Yes, you were. And yeah, it's fun in tuning into that stuff. A lot of this, sometimes it's camouflage. They don't want people to know about it. You maybe you'll tune into it yourself and ask. Sometimes they will even keep it from the person, at least at its fullest, and they'll be presented in what you're ready for. Because there's time travel involved. It has to do with destiny of who you are, what you're meant to be. You can be involved in it. Maybe your soul family has like a member that's doing it. There's light doing it. There's dark. To hold people back is what the dark does usually, or to make people accept their shit if they're wanting to dump stuff on them, or like, because DNA can also be a backdoor. There's parasitic members in DNA lineages, and they can reach in and steal abilities from a person. And so we all want to clear and audit our DNA and look at it and bring it up to fullest and its capacity. You can go inward and vision quest to start programming things and seeing what's there. And I can help you with all that. So feel free to reach out for a session if you want to go into your DNA. It's fun. There's all kinds of really cool, interesting stuff in some of you guys. How can I achieve refocusing on mission more quickly daily? Matrix imprinted loop resilience type things. Sorry, I'm trying to understand how you put that. How can I achieve refocusing on missions more quickly daily? Missions for yourself, you can start with like, what are your goals? How to achieve it. Like, I need to improve this part of me. I want to get more exorcism abilities. I want to make it so I don't feel attacked. I want to improve my emotional body. I want to make it so that I don't feel this type of negative emotion anymore. You got to master that. Do missions for yourself. Missions for others, beings you trust. Earth Mother, Prime Creator of the Galaxy that people call God. Deities, especially if it's versions of yourself, I'd recommend starting with that. They will likely to betray you. Ancestors, things to like make your DNA work better, which, learning ability. A lot of missions are easy. You can just build off of like, okay, I have this ability. Higher self and source, look out for things that need this ability, or need this ability used or done in a situation, and let me do that as missions and set those up automatically. And then you don't even have to know everything, just that you're doing work and your higher self is going out and you're doing it and you're performing the ability. So there's all kind. I'd recommend that. Learn more abilities so that you can automatically set it up as a commerce system, so that you're doing things in trade for what those beings are good at or they do for you, or IOUs is the currency exchange, and you can turn those into Earth and Prime Period Galaxy for abilities, and then you come across as you research stuff and oh, I want to learn how to do that. Turn it into a bunch of my IOUs and make it so that I master that, integrate that into me as fast as possible. And then you can start seeing your level turn up with that.
Hey brother, it's John. I don't know if you saw my. I was texting you in the thing.
Oh,
Are you
sorry,
seeing
didn't
that at
see
all?
that.
Or? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, sure. Okay, where are you texting me?
It's actually into the interview chat, but yeah, it's a good time to stop. This is a
Okay, let's go.
good stopping part.
Okay.
But
Okay,
yeah,
so
thank you
people
everybody.
come to the Humankind Center for the events. Subscribe to the app. Download this, share this with more people. Like, subscribe to the YouTube Humankind Center, and as well as my Sonic League. Look out for these shows. Share this with more people. Expand the audience. We'll do more of these shows. Get ready for more disclosure stuff with Disclosure Day coming out. Reach out if you want stuff on contacting ETs, your soul family, your DNA, all that stuff. Get this out there, please, to more people, and I will be sending upgrades to everyone that does that. Yeah, thank you all for being here. Please um, support the Humankind Center and John in his endeavor and what he's trying to do in this growing community, please. Anything else you wanted to say?
Oh man, that was great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time. And yeah, everybody, keep on coming back every Tuesday, 2 p.m. We're just gonna keep on just giving out more and more information about how to get through this and do it together as a community. So thank you everybody.
Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day, everyone.